Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Adidas Samba Classic Indoors in the black and white colorway. Now inside the box, all you get are the shoes themselves. They do not come with any extras. So let me get these guys out of the box really quickly, and we'll take a closer look at what I believe to be not only one of the better indoor shoes on the market, but certainly what is the best value if you're paying full retail for any indoor shoe on the market. And of course, I'm talking about the Adidas Samba Classic. This is a shoe that at full retail is going to run you $60 US, and you can find these very often below retail price. So for less than $60, you're getting yourself a very, very good pair of indoor shoes that, like I said, if you're on a tighter budget and you're looking for some good indoors, either for actual indoor courts or as a street soccer shoe, the Samba Classic, like I said, is the best of the best in terms of bang for your buck, and we're going to be talking about that in today's video. We're going to take a look at the tech specs, talk about performance features, take a look at the weight of the shoe, as well as take a look at how these things fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more about the Adidas Samba Classic, which is certainly not a new release, please stick around, watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $60 retail. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk about the performance. Now, regardless of whether or not you know anything about soccer shoes, this is one of those shoes that you've probably seen out in public before, whether it be in store or on the feet of somebody just wearing them casually. The Samba Classic, or the regular Samba, has been around for quite some time. The reason for that is because this is more or less the Copa of indoor shoes, although there is a Copa Indoor as well that costs a little bit more money and is a little bit better quality too, but also a fair bit different. But the Samba Classic, in terms of just bang for your buck, it's really, really tough to beat. Even at the $60 asking price, this thing is equally as good as far as quality standards go to pretty much any other indoor shoe out there. And that is definitely saying a lot because there's quite a bit of variety right now in today's current indoor market, especially from Adidas. They have lots and lots of models at the moment. So for $60, what exactly are you getting with the Samba Classic? First question I want to answer, what's the difference between a regular Samba and the Samba Classic? There's a couple different things. The Samba Classic is available in two colors, the black and white one that I have right here, as well as basically the opposite color variation, so white leather upper, black Adidas stripes. So that's the Samba Classic, plus it has this particular tongue with the big kind of extension flap. The tongue itself is made from foam, so it's an extension piece. It's not really made to fold over, although you technically could if you wanted to. It will stay in place. But if you really don't want it there, and I've done this before, you can simply just cut it off. And because it's foam, there's nothing you have to stitch up after the fact. You just kind of cut it where you want, and you're left without that big giant flap. Plus, on the Samba Classic, the material is always consistent. You're always getting the same full grain, kind of high quality or decent quality leather upper. I don't want to say it's amazing. It's certainly not kangaroo leather, but it feels really good from right out of the box, and give it some time to wear in and it softens up even more and just provides a really nice kind of traditional leather touch on the ball, but one that's not overly padded, which is something that I really want to stress with this particular shoe. I know some people don't like leather shoes just because they feel overly cushioned. You definitely don't get that sensation from the Samba Classic. Now, a regular Samba, that's more of a casual wear shoe. You can wear them for soccer. There's absolutely no problem with that, but you're just going to find more variation in the actual materials. Sometimes the upper will be synthetic, sometimes the upper will be leather, sometimes the upper will be suede. The tongue material is going to vary. And like I said, in terms of actual performance, the regular Samba Classic is definitely the way to go, in my opinion, although you definitely can get away with wearing the regular Samba as well, depending on the variation. So, like I mentioned, the upper is made from a high quality full grain leather upper, which, like I said, is very, very good for the $60 price tag. It would be even very good at the $100 price point, in my opinion, and gets that much better after some break-in time. What's great about this is the entire upper is made from leather aside from the tongue, which is foam. You might think that's a cheap material, but I actually really, really like how this feels. It doesn't slide around, and it has a nice kind of touch on the ball. It's very, very consistent despite there being a lot of overlapping materials, it is kind of an old school construction in terms of how this shoe is put together. You're going to find that at the front of the shoe, there is a very kind of thick layer, or a fairly thick layer of suede that wraps the entire forefoot and toe box area kind of as a reinforcement layer. And this is really going to enhance the overall durability of the shoe, as well as provide a little bit of extra grip on the ball at the front area of the foot, just because the suede obviously does have some texture to it. Will it get dirty? Will it kind of scuff up really quickly? The answer to that question is yes, especially on the white colorway, but does that actually impact the durability or performance of the shoe? No, it's just not going to look as pretty down the line, but these are made for playing, not as a fashion accessory, depending on how you want to wear them, I suppose. And like I said, that's not something that really bothers me. I think that a well-worn-in pair of Samba Classics just has a really cool look about it. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Laces run through the middle, nice and deep, so you're able to get a nice secure fit. The width of the shoe is very kind of forgiving, I suppose. They're gonna fit just about everybody, and I'll talk about that a little bit later during the on-feet portion of the video. They do give you this extra lace hole, which is kind of a cool little feature. I don't have it laced up right now, but I'll show you that during the on-feet portion as well, where you can use that extra lace hole and just get an extra secure fit at the top part of the shoe, locking your heel in place really securely. You have an internal plastic heel counter here. The lining material is a kind of smooth, really soft, kind of almost sock-like material, and it's very well padded as well. You would think that it's very slick, but actually it locks your heel in place really nicely and it's very comfortable. The insole is non-removable, but that's kind of a common characteristic for cheaper indoor shoes, which I wouldn't necessarily call this cheaper based on quality, but more so an older style shoe, which is definitely what this is. And like I said, the insole's fully glued in. You could rip it out if you wanted to. It wouldn't be that difficult, but I don't necessarily recommend it, and you don't really have to. It definitely does get the job done. Moving on to the outsole, you can see that there's no exposed foam. All the foam is actually on the inside of the shoe, so it's not overly thick. I would say you sit maybe about this low into the shoe, so these side walls actually act as kind of reinforcement. So when you are making those quick cuts and changes of direction, despite the upper being leather, which is generally a softer material, you feel very secure in this shoe, which is definitely nice because the rubber on the actual outsole, the sidewalls of the shoe are doing their part to hold your foot in place as well. So you get a fair amount of underfoot cushioning without it feeling mushy, so you're still close to the ground. And like I said, they don't feel bulky on your feet whatsoever, especially once they're broken in. And then again, you get rubber going all the way around the edge, which really does help the overall durability of the shoe, especially if you do want to use these on concrete or in any kind of street soccer environment. They hold up extremely well. And then moving on to the outsole, it does have an indoor bottom that is kind of unusual. It's not particularly flat. There's a lot of texture and a lot of pattern here. You can see that in the kind of heel and midfoot area, you have this, I don't even know what you would call it. I kind of describe it as little waves that kind of go up and down, and there's kind of big gaps in between. It's not completely smooth, but the actual traction you get from this particular outsole is very, very good. And it's not so much down to the traction pattern. I suppose that does have something to do with it, but it's the actual rubber. This is a gum rubber outsole, kind of old school, but it's very, very grippy, even on dustier courts. If I know I'm going to be playing indoors and the floor is particularly dusty and I'm not in the process of testing anything out, with all the options I have to choose from, generally I go for the Adidas Samba Classic just because I know the traction is going to be very, very good. You can see you have these three little cutouts here that I think are supposed to act as like suction cups or something like that. But obviously they don't. But like I said, the traction overall works really, really well. The durability is great on pretty much any kind of surface, which is really good. And even if something does go wrong, let's say after a year or two, you only paid $60 or potentially less than that for your Samba Classic. So like I said, in terms of bang for your buck, this is a really, really tough shoe to beat. So if you're on a budget, or even if you just don't want to spend a lot of money on a pair of indoors, but you still want something really good, the Adidas Samba Classic from a performance standpoint really can't be beat out by anything else on the market in this particular price range. As far as weight is concerned, the Adidas Samba Classic certainly isn't as light as a lot of these super thin, low profile indoor shoes that are available right now and are very popular right now. But if you're into that style of shoe, the Samba Classic probably isn't your cup of tea anyways. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you today in real time using the scale just so we can see exactly how heavy these things are. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. We're going to throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 13 ounces exactly, the equivalent of 368 grams. So at 13 ounces, that is more than most indoor shoes you're going to find in today's current soccer cleat market, especially the modern ones that are above the $100 price point. But again, these things are $60 plus it's not really that style of indoor shoe. This is more around built around comfort, having a premium leather upper, fitting really well, and also being durable. All the materials on this shoe are very, very rugged. So yes, while it would be nice for them to be a little bit lighter, that would take away from the overall durability and the overall comfort of the shoe. So for me personally, I don't mind the extra 2 to 3 ounces that you're gonna carry on your feet with this particular shoe. Again, if you want something really, really light, this probably isn't going to appeal to you anyways. But again, if you're just after a really good value as far as indoor shoes go, and you don't mind having shoes that perhaps weigh ever so slightly more than a more modern, more expensive pair of indoor shoes, you won't have any issues with the weight of the Adidas Samba Classic. As far as appearance is concerned, the Adidas Samba Classic is, as the name would suggest, a classic. It's part of the reason why it's been around for so long. Now the Samba Classic, which is what I have here, the more soccer specific version of the Samba, is available in 2 different colors. You have the one I have right here, which is black with white stripes, and you could also get the opposite, white with black stripes. So depending on your taste, you do have 2 options there. Both of them look really, really good. For me, I love the look of this shoe. It's become very, very popular as a casual wear shoe over the years. And I think there's good reason for that. It just has a very clean kind of classic aesthetic to it. And I think it's pretty unanimous at this point that this is a good looking shoe. It's one of those shoes that if you want to wear a pair of soccer shoes every single day, wear them casually and not look like you're wearing soccer shoes all the time, the Samba Classic or just a regular pair of Sambas is one of those shoes that you can definitely pull that off with. And be prepared at all times, I suppose, if you want to juggle the ball or start a street soccer game. So for me, I'm a big fan of how these things look. The black and white colorway, pretty straightforward. It's pretty much an all black upper. You have different combination of materials, which I think looks really cool. You have the plain leather, you have the foam on the tongue, you have the laces, you have the suede on the toe, you obviously have the liner material, and then of course you have the white overlays with the Adidas stripes that do have the zigzag cut to them, which is kind of old school looking. You have a little white heel tab at the back. You can see on the tongue it does say Adidas Samba, and it does have Samba in gold right here, which is kind of a classic Adidas thing as well. And then the entire outsole and midsole is that kind of brownish gum rubber color, which I also think looks really, really good and just fits the old school vibe very nicely. So for me, I'm a big fan of how these things look, both in terms of just casual wear as well as a pair of soccer shoes. It's a really, really clean design, and there's a reason why it's been around for so long. But let me know your opinions on it down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and of course what the sizing is like. All right, so here is a look at the Samba Classics on feet. On my left foot I have the stock black laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot I have a pair of wide black reflective SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, they're pretty comfortable from right out of the box. There definitely is some stiffness to the leather upper from brand new, but that's kind of to be expected with this style of shoe, given that it is kind of all made from leather, and it's not the softest leather in terms of how it actually feels from brand new. It does take some time to break in, especially because you do have that suede at the toe as well. So if you put these on and they feel a little bit stiff, that's completely normal. Like I said, give them a couple hours of wear time and they soften up significantly. They'll even stretch a little bit if they feel slightly tight in the forefoot and toe box area. As far as the overall shape of the shoe is concerned, it's got some decent width to it. This is a shoe that's pretty much gonna fit everybody. Again, like I mentioned, give them some time to break in and they will stretch a decent amount, not a ton, because that actual suede in the forefoot and toe box area will restrict it a little bit. It softens up, but it also does act as somewhat of a reinforcement layer from preventing that upper from overstretching. Plus you have those Adidas stripes that also act as kind of a reinforcement layer. Again, just preventing the shoe from expanding too much and feeling sloppy on your foot. So as long as you get the right size from the get-go, overstretching is something that is very unlikely in this particular shoe. And like I said, they're gonna be suitable for just about anybody. They have some really good width to them. As far as comfort is concerned, like I said, you're fairly close to the ground, although there is some underfoot cushioning to this. It's a firmer cushion. It's definitely not overly plush, but just enough kind of impact protection to where I would say that these are very comfortable to wear on any kind of hard, flat surface. Something that's interesting about this shoe that you won't find in most indoors is that it does have somewhat of an arch in the midfoot area. So for those of you guys that are looking for arch support in soccer shoes, which is pretty much non-existent, this does have a little bit of an arch to it through the midfoot, which some people like, some people don't like so much. As far as the actual lacing system is concerned, again, it runs nice and deep, so you do have the option of getting a nice, snug, secure fit when you pull the laces tight. Like I mentioned earlier, they do include that extra lace hole. So on my left foot, I have them laced up normally, not using the lace hole, and they feel fine. But if you want to use that extra lace hole like I've done here on my right foot, you can get an extra secure fit at the top part of the shoe, really locking your heel in place quite nicely. As far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these online, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Adidas Samba Classic Indoors. Like I said at the start of this video, this really is the best bang for your buck indoor shoe on the market right now, and really for the foreseeable future. So if you're on a lower budget and you need a pair of indoors, Samba Classic is one of those shoes that I can very strongly recommend. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, first link down below, that'll take you to the review page on my website, where on that page you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $60 retail price, which, like I said, is an absolute steal. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below. If you have any questions at all regarding the Samba Classic, leave your questions down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.